Okay, I got another DVD player to look at from the Big Smoke, and the only reason I grabbed another DVD player was it was the next one in the pile. Anyway, I don't know if this one works or not. I know it's covered in smoke. I do have the remote for this one, so that should make things interesting, but I want to see what formats this one supports and see if it works, and then find it a new home. And I've got the box and the manual and everything for this one, so this one should be easy to get rid of if it works. Here we have another piece of shite. This one's a Curtis DVD player, and if you're wondering why I'm going through all these DVD players now, and the only reason I'm going through all these DVD players right now is this was the next one on the pile. That's what it boils down to. It wasn't that I just went out and said, you know, I'm going to pull another DVD player. It's just that I got a stack of equipment, and the little shite ended up on the top of the pile. That's the only reason why. I could have grabbed a reel-to-reel machine, or one of several VCRs, or receivers, or tape decks and stuff, but they're further down the pile, so I will get to them in due time. But right now, it's another one of these smoke-covered, smelly DVD players, and this one I have a remote for, so this one might be slightly more useful. This one says region 1, so this one here was not an all region like the other one. A lot of these could be unlocked with codes that were punched into the remote, but others could not. And as I mentioned in the other video and in the comments, a lot of the machines were knockoffs that were being sold for as little as $25, brand new. And they were being sold under various different names. And what happened with a lot of those was they all got seized because the U.S. Customs and Border Protection went in and seized them because they were knockoffs and counterfeits. And they did not comply with the Copyright Act, which stated that they had to be region locked. So this is an even more simple player than the last one. At least this one has a separate power supply board and a video board. There's the, oh, is that the ROM chip? Is the EEPROM a plug-in chip on this one? It looks like it's a plug-in chip. Yes, it is. So this is the EEPROM, double EEPROM. This chip contains the operating system, or a portion of the operating system. It might not contain the entire operating system. That's probably stored in the microcontroller over here. But this one here would contain things like the on-screen graphics, the splash screen that says Curtis when it boots up, and that type of stuff, and the operating parameters were in here. It might contain more than that, but these were not very big flash ROM chips. They were relatively small. They held things like the user settings, settings for, like, if you had it set for widescreen or progressive scan or whatever you were doing with it, that was stored in that chip. That way when you removed the power and you powered it back up, it had all the settings. We'll plug in our left and right audio and our composite video, because that's all I use in here in the shop is composite. And when I use these DVD players for playing back content, like for test videos, for example, it's always in interlace mode. All my discs that I've got, like these, they were all, well, a lot of them were from interlace sources. Yes, I could produce a disc in progressive, but a lot of players, they only play back progressive, real progressive content when it's at 24 frames. So for example, if I set my camera to 24 frames and I output it as a 24 progressive DVD VOB, then it would be a full progressive. Otherwise, if I'm shooting in 60p, for example, it's typically going to get converted to 60i and recorded as a 60 interlaced, even though the source was progressive. That's just the way that they are. for the most part. Progressive output was limited to 24 frames. Of course, the advantage to being in 60i mode is if you're playing 60i content that was shot on a video camera, whether it's in standard def or whether it was high definition, scaled down to 480i, it's going to look better than if you try to have the player play it out in component. If you have it set for component progressive, the player will try to send it to the TV in progressive modes, but a lot of televisions, they only accepted progressive when it was a 24 frame source. So a lot of these will actually convert it down to 24 frames, and then if you're playing a 60 frame progressive that's been output as a 24 frame progressive, you get the max headroom look sometimes on these units. So if you're going to be playing content that was originating from an interlace source, it's better to have them put in interlace mode and only use the progressive output if you're playing film-based content on DVD. Let the TV, because the television itself, if it's a flat panel, will convert it from an interlace to a progressive scan. It has to, because that's how it's displayed on the television. And they typically will do a much better job than the little converters that are in these cheap DVD players. So I'm going to power it up now, and well, it says Curtis DVD video player on the screen, and that info would have popped from this. That display would have been stored in that ROM. So you could pop a different ROM in and it would show a different brand. And that way, the one manufacturer could just make a gajillion of these machines and just pop whatever chip in for whoever was marketing it, whether it was Curtis or whether it was Insignia or any of the other brands, any of the other house brands. They would just have a ROM with their splash screen on it. I've done nothing to this unit yet. I want to see whether it will play anything. So on the front we've got the eject button. It opens the tray. Let's see if it will play this disc. And I'll even try the remote control, as I do have a Curtis remote. I'm sure it's this one. I am sitting at the main screen for this disc. Press the enter button, and it's going to play. That's looking good. So I'll check some of the bells and whistles on here. Oh, you can switch it between NTSC and PAL apparently. There's a button on here, whether it does anything. I didn't even know this is the right remote, so let's just see whether... Yeah, ×2, ×4, ×8, so ×16, and back to play. So that part works. Next track. Geez, I remember when I did this. I stayed there with my camera set up. I think I was there for about 3 hours. 2 hours maybe? 2 to 3 hours. This was all done with a still camera. Even though it looks like video, this was done with the still camera. I had a timer that would trigger the shutter release, and it was taking a photo every 5 seconds as the sun went down. I think this was the first time I was playing with this. This part was shot on a video camera that was sped up in post. This shot. And this was shot also with a video camera. If I go back on this, so all these shots here, these were all shot with a still camera. Just hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of, they were all shot in RAW format too, so that I could do color grading and so forth in post, even though I didn't do much color grading. They were all shot in RAW format. So each photo is 24 megabytes in size. Each photo, and there's 30 photos per second playing back. This was huge. Anyway, this unit looks like it's working. I'm just going to try some of the other bells and whistles on the remote here. Like the repeat, for example. What does it say? Repeat. We'll do a repeat. Repeat chapter, repeat title. Okay, so this one can be set to play the disc over and over again from the remote. Well, isn't that interesting? I'm pushing buttons on this remote control, and I turned on the air conditioner. That remote turned on the air conditioner. If I go into the setup, if I can find it, setup. Menus look very much like all of the other ones, right? Aspect ratio, I can change it from 4:3 to 16:9. Video out, you can have composite, S-video, component, or progressive scan. For the audio, digital output is off or on. You can set ratings and screensaver. I wonder what the screensaver does. Let's see what other types of discs this thing can play. So like the other one, I'm going to try this S-video CD and see whether it will play this one. It's hard to say whether it will or not. Some players will, others won't do anything. And it does identify it as a Super Video CD. And it does play it. So that's another good feature on this one. Did I get a second working DVD player? I got the box for this one too, but it kind of looks like this one's working, which is kind of a good score, I guess. We'll try it with a MP3 and a CDRW. So we'll try an MP3 disc on it next. I'm sure it'll play MP3s. And it does. What I'm curious on this is the repeat. Will it? No. Okay, what'll repeat? Oh, what about mode? What is this here? Music intro, normal. It doesn't look like it's going to have random playback, which is another drag. That's all I asked for. Just, can I have a DVD player that will play MP3s and it will play them in random playback? Is that too much to ask? Apparently it is. But I can have AB repeat, so I can have it repeat the same thing. Like, what the hell? What good is that, you know? You would think that they would make this thing kind of user-friendly. If I stop it and I push the NP button, I can switch it to PAL. So this one could output Region 1 discs in PAL. And it could play DVD discs that were recorded in PAL on NTSC set. Okay, well this just decided it does not want to read. Oh, there it went. It might need some cleaning of the lens or something. This thing stinks of smoke. It's still not reading properly. It was, and then it wasn't. Okay, let's just... Is that pickup sticking? That gear used to be white. It's discolored. I don't know whether it's ready to turn into like a goop or break. Those types always did break though. But it hasn't on this one, so I'm going to leave it alone. So the pickup's not moving to the home position. It's stuck. Okay, I think probably what it is maybe the little switch that indicates that it's at home. It's trying to focus with the red laser. Can you see it? The red laser keeps coming on, but it's beyond the end of its track. This should retract all the way back, unless it's stuck. It doesn't appear to be stuck. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking maybe the little switch. And it worked a few times, but then it got gummed up and whatever. But there's a little switch that is right back at the home position that gets activated. I gotta pull the mechanism out to get to it. This should go home, like when I hit the eject button. That should go home on its own, and it's not. So it's possible that the little leaf switch is dirty, and it's thinking it's at the home position right now. So let's just pop the drive out. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Obviously, I just want to see if it works properly. That little paper spacer down there because the drive didn't fit. Is that what that is all about? A little paper spacer that they didn't even get over the screw hole on this side. This one's got it right underneath the transport. Let's power this down and see if this will lift out. Which it will. And I can actually unplug this one right over here. Okay, there should be a switch. Yes, there's a switch. It should be right here, actually. I think that's it. There's a little pin switch. Yeah, there's a little pin switch right there, and I bet you it's not making a, or it's got a short. You can see the mirror on this pickup. This is the mirror that reflects the laser. So the laser is in one portion, and the pickup is offset by about 90 degrees. This is the pickup over here, and this is the laser right there. So the laser will shine into a mirror that is across this way. It's what they call a semi-transparent mirror. The laser will hit that, and the light will get reflected this way into this mirror, which will then shine straight up through the lens. And on the return trip back, it hits this mirror and gets sent back this way. And yes, some will get reflected back towards the laser. That's not important. A lot of it will go straight through and hit the detector. So the switch is on the bottom of this circuit board. I'm going to undo this connector here. It looks like they put glue on there to glue it in place, but the glue missed its mark because it was never glued in. This is the switch here. And what this switch does is when the optical pickup goes all the way to the front, it signals that the optical pickup is at the front. And with the pickup sitting down here at the end, I get this sneaking suspicion that this switch is not working. And you can't take these apart to clean them, because if you take them apart, they'll never go back together. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fire some cleaner into the switch itself. I had to change a couple of these on a Fostex DAT machine. The switches were cheap. The switches were only like $1. I think they were like $1.50 a piece. $3 for the switches, but $30 shipping to get the switches here. hopefully I got enough in there to clean up those contacts. This unit really stinks of cigarettes. I mean, it's just, you guys can't imagine how bad this smells, but it smells like a smoker's house. See, this was supposed to be glued in over here. They put glue on it, but they didn't glue it in the right spot. That's just how cheap the manufacturing of this stuff was. Another unit with 3 motors. I wonder if I peel the sticker off whether we can see the mirror that's in here. Probably can. Although I might make it worthless. I wonder if we can see the mirror under here, under this sticker. Maybe, maybe not. No, I guess not. But we can see the aperture where the laser fires out, and I can see the mirror in there from an angle. See, these are ones I talk about when they, I mean, it could be the mirror's dirty too. That also could be why it's not playing. Because the mirror is exposed, and certainly smoke from in the room can certainly migrate into this big time. This is where most of the contamination on DVD players occurs, is actually on the internal optics of the lens that gets in here. See, that's open as well, so you know, smoke and dust, and well, smoke usually, but we'll get in there and get on that mirror. Is that moving? Shouldn't. Probably power this thing up without mounting the actual unit itself. Just put this plug back in. Oh, there it goes. There goes the pickup back where it belongs. You see that, and you can see the laser down here. You can see it shiny. This is looking for a disc. That's why the pickup wasn't going back, was because it thought it was at home. But you can see the whole thing operating. This mirror is semi-transparent, so you can actually see what's going on inside here. Can you see the lens below? You can see the lens on the other side, directly down here. And when it lifts up and down, you can see it. See? It's switching between the two lasers. If I put the camera in night shot, you'll see the second lasers should be in the same housing. I'll put it in night shot. I thought it was in the same one. It's got to be in the same housing to read CDRs. Oh, there it is. In infrared mode, it is the same laser. It's just that it turns on in red mode first. Oh, it's funny, is that's the first track on the disc, but it's actually recorded way out here on the disc. That's weird. The next track is even further out. For those of you wondering why I'm in night shot mode, it's because you can't see the laser unless I am. It's an infrared laser. Here's a good close-up if we power the unit down and I power it up. The red laser will come on first, and then the infrared laser. Alright, I just figured something out on this unit. It's some of the tracks it can't even play. Like, for example, it says not support video file. It's not, it's an MP3. But this thing, I guess, I don't know whether it's because some of these are recorded in fixed bit rate. This one here is recorded in variable bit rate, and as you can see, it just keeps skipping until it finds one that it can play. So this is, it's doing that on its own, right? I press the skip ahead, and it plays until it finds one that's in variable bit rate, which some of them are, and it just skips right over it. See? And I see the calls from the I'm going to say scam calls, but just got a phone call from someone that said they were calling me from Google Support Services regarding my business account. Now, I don't advertise. And what they'll say is they'll say things like, this is your, this is for your free, it's always a free account. This is for your free business listing. And then they say, well, we're going to put you through to one of our support people to make sure your listing is correct. Say, well, I don't have a listing. Oh, we've got a listing here for you. Well, I'm not paying for advertising. Oh, it's free. Well, I said, well, it's not free because you're going to put me through to a consultant, and the consultant's going to want a setup fee. And then they're always like, well, that's separate, but that's not your ad. Your ad is free. Well, a free ad to me means a free ad, no cost whatsoever, not a $400 or $500 setup fee. So, sorry, not interested. And then she goes on, she says, well, would you accept business if it came in from the web? I said, of course I'd accept business if it come in from the web, but I'm not paying for advertising. What part of that do you not understand? So I get enough business locally. I don't need to pull in more business from the web. And she just kept going on and on and on. So I just kind of hung up on her. Waste my time. Okay, plug this back in. I think it is plugged in. Turn it on. So playing MP3 discs, not a good one for that. I'm curious as to whether it will play a CDRW. It should, but you never know until you try. I mean, after all, it did play an S-Video CD, which I was not expecting. And it does play it. Again, no random playback. So it plays CDRW discs. And it plays SVCD. And it plays DVD. And there really wasn't much wrong with it, other than I had to clean that little switch because it wasn't signaling that the laser was in its home position there, and now it is. And now it's working. Oops. And you can control it from the front panel, which a lot of them you can't. A lot of them you have to have a remote to click OK to start playing something from the main title, and this one here doesn't need that. It's playing it fine. So I guess that's about does it on this one. There's nothing really to see much on this. Nothing to repair other than, well, I guess, other than that switch that was bad, causing the system to sit out there and not respond. I wouldn't be surprised if there's damage to the pickup on this just from the amount of smoke. I can see smoke on the inside of this one as well. You can see it like it's discoloring things. So I wouldn't be surprised if smoke hasn't penetrated that laser, although, I mean, you can just tell it looks dull. The plastic, you can see it on here. But it's playing. It's kind of limited as to what it can play, but it doesn't have the random playback for music. But I mean, this is one that I was just going to check this over and basically donate it to Value Village or one of those other places, just to keep the stuff out of the landfill. And I do have the box and the remote for it, so this one might be a good one just to donate and let somebody else who's looking for a basic DVD player have it with all its filth. You know, I know what these places do too. Like Value Village is really bad for this. I don't know why they do it, but when they get donations of stuff like this and it comes in with the remote, they take the remote and they put it on the shelf, and they'll put the DVD player up for like $5, and then they'll put the remote out with $3 on it. So you gotta buy both. Even if I donate them together, they'll separate them. But as I say, it's pretty gungy. I'll just throw some cleaner on here. We'll see how this cleans up. Any questions? Yeah, it's pretty bad. I don't know if it wasn't as bad as that Boeing box, but it's still pretty dirty. I think probably this one wasn't as dirty as it could have been because this was in a box. The remote itself, on the other hand, was not in a box. It was separate, and look at how dirty it is. It's supposed to be that color. Oh my God. Look at how bad that is. That is just absolutely disgusting. But that's the smoke, that's the tar and nicotine that didn't go into his lungs. Gross. Anyway, another one saved from the scrap heap that it'll go back out into service. Because just like VCRs, people are looking for this stuff again. They're finding old discs and old tapes that they want to play. And they've gotten rid of their equipment, or it's broken, and they go looking for used equipment because, of course, they don't make a lot of this stuff anymore. They don't make regular DVD players anymore. They still make Blu-ray players and the Ultra HD or the 4K players, but they don't make, I don't think they make regular DVD players anymore. I haven't been in a store for years. I used to enjoy, you know, going to electronic stores and just seeing what new gadgets were out there. Something I would do on a regular basis. Head down to Best Buy or head down to Visions and just see what toys they had. But I didn't buy any of it. I just went to see how things were changing, technology was changing. But I haven't really done that in about 4 years. Ever since the whole COVID thing hit and all the stores were closed, I went in once, and that was to buy the camera that I'm recording this on. And they wouldn't even let me in the store. They had to bring it to me at the door because, you know, they couldn't let anybody in. You had to line up, and they came in at the front door. They asked what you wanted, and you could order it online and pick it up at the store. But they weren't letting anybody go into the store at that point. You had to pre-order it, and then when you got there, you gave them your info, and they brought it out to you. curbside delivery, they called it. And I haven't been back since. So I don't even know what's out there today. I guess one of these days I should actually go and see what new gadgets are out there. I'm sure I'll be surprised at what's not available anymore and what is, because I haven't been doing it. Anyway, that one's going to go back in the box, and somebody else will end up with it. Thanks for watching, because this one appears to be fully functional. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.